This is our West End Stars class, so these are our 10 to 13-year-olds and they are rehearsing for Alice in Wonderland. So we have to just watch the social distancing and also when we don't need to take the masks off, we don't, just to be safer. But then when we do certain run-throughs, we're allowed to take the masks off now, but that's only just come in over the last few weeks. The day they announced that circuit breaker was happening, we were all kind of, at the time, we're thinking, okay, maybe this will happen, you know, maybe we might have a week or two off work. Didn't quite know how long it's gonna be for. And then I think it's a few days later, like, that actually the feelings came when you're just like, this is gonna be tough. So I'm just checking in with all of my performer friends, and people just lost work overnight. Like, no work at all in the performing arts industry for the freelancers. And I remember that first meeting was just, what do we do? Like, how do we do this? Right, open that here. Obviously, the classes had to pivot online, so we actually had to work out how to do live streaming. Never ever did I think I would be live streaming theatre, because obviously theatre is about the space and people coming to the theatre to experience theatre. So as a director, you've never planned like camera shots. But at that time we had to keep within 5 people and they weren't allowed to mix with each other, so it was like playing chess of like, okay, which actors can go with who, and they have to stay separate backstage. In hindsight, it was a lot of work, but it was very fun. The difficulty has been the uncertainty for especially the theatre companies. We had to make sure that the Sing Theatre and the company was still able to survive for those jobs to still be there. One of the biggest things of the first year that came out was an idea called Singathon, which was something we hadn't thought of until the pandemic, and that was a 12-hour non-stop singing live stream, but it involved the community because everything we do is about the community. I think that was one of our proudest moments as well of the pandemic that helped us keep going and also brought the community together at the same time. Especially at this moment today, you see a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel, especially with the recent release of measures. We can start to see that theatre can slowly come back. So we are rehearsing for Quasimodo. I'm playing Frollo, which is the villain in the show. And we go into the Alliance Francaise in 2 weeks' time to put up Quasimodo by Sing Theatre. This is my first full musical in Singapore since I've been here for 9 years. For a lot of performers as well, it's their first time for 2 or 3 years since COVID. So we're all very excited to get back to it. It is the first time we've had so many people on stage, but even then we're having to work out how we stand on stage, so we're social distanced and making sure that we're not singing directly into each other still. So there's still lots of rules where we have to follow for the COVID rules that we didn't have to think about before.
The other side is Amin, followed by Frenchie, followed by TJ, followed by myself.
Now more than ever, performing arts needs people's support because we are just coming back. So I think people's trust in being in a space with lots of people has been shaken. So I think we just need everybody to just take the plunge and go back to see live events, support live music, support live theatre, because that's the only way that these theatre companies and these musicians can keep going with their job. Just go see things. My personal feeling towards the pandemic now is hope that we are able to move forward and be able to continue making art. We've actually lost quite a few performers during the pandemic who had to pivot to stay alive. You know, there's many performers I know that have been doing Grab, that have been, you know, just gone and taken a full-time job. So I think it's really important to be supported and nurtured the industry to make work so we can employ people again and make the work relevant, make the work meaningful to Singaporeans and to Singapore, and to start pushing the boundaries of what that means here in Singapore as well.